Hey y'all, I am coming from Opryland, which I believe is one of the largest non-casino hotels in the entire United States. My family and I are staying here for a brief weekend trip. They have an amazing indoor water park. And this particular morning, I was reading my book that I always read, my professional development book I read every morning. And I was reading, today's book was Atomic Habits. I had an amazing insight from the book, and I just felt like I needed to share that with you and share this beautiful background. So, if there's a little background noise, my apologies. It's worth it. The message is worth it. So, I'm about 2/3 of the way done with this particular book. Love everything about it. If you haven't purchased it, you should. The Atomic Habits by James Clear. One of probably a handful of books I will reread year after year. I've made that commitment to myself. It's amazing. And today's message was really about the power of genetics. And we think about that and how we're predisposed or predisposed to success, right? He has a really great analogy between Michael Phelps and another athlete that you're going to want to read about. It's really interesting. But I walked away with my favorite little nugget, and I wanted to share it with you. The quote goes, "Genes do not determine your destiny, they determine your areas of opportunity." And I want you to reflect on that for a minute. What does that mean to you? Many times we think, oh, we can't do something because we're not genetically predisposed to be able to do it. And maybe there's a little bit of truth to the fact that our genetics work for us or against us. I'm 5'2". There's no way I could be an NBA basketball player. I know that. I know that to my core, and my son reminds me of that regularly. But I do think that there are parts of our genetics that we can leverage. And what I love about what James Clear shares is your genetics give you areas of opportunity. And when you understand elements of yourself that are easy, that you're set up to succeed with, then you can leverage those to help you move forward. And he uses this in this particular chapter. He talks about how when you understand your genetics, which impact your personality, it can also help you understand what types of habits you potentially may need in life to help you get where you want to go. So I was reflecting a lot on how this is important to authors, nonfiction authors, but any authors really. And I walked away with three kind of things I wanted to note to you. Okay, the first one. Let's say you love to write, but you hate writing. I know a lot of authors who feel this way. They absolutely despise writing, but they love what being an author does for them. And guess what? They still can become an author. There's lots of ways around that. And they can still write if that's something that they really want to do. Of course, there's ghostwriting opportunities. There's so many ways that you can become an author without actually putting a pen to paper. But if that is not something you want to do, if you actually do want to write, and yet you can't stand writing or you can't find the time to do it, it's not a priority, or you just struggle with it, that is okay. This is where James Clear's insights on habits and creating habits that align with your genetic needs can work for you. So you might want to consider some things like, okay, I hate writing. I know I need to write. So how can I position and make writing something that's satisfying? Or maybe it's something that happens after writing that I get to do that's satisfying. He shares a really great example about some people at work. When you kind of want to eat the elephant and it's hard to do that, they have on their desk like two containers. One has paper clips and one doesn't. This is for individuals in the sales community, but we can use it as authors too. You have maybe 10, I don't know, we'll say 10 paper clips in one jar. And every time you write a page, let's say your goal is to get 100 pages written in the course of X number of weeks, right? So maybe you have 10, and every week you want to get through the 10 pages, or every day you want to get through one. When you move a paper clip, that paper clip symbolizes your goal, to the other jar that has nothing in it, maybe you get something. Maybe you get to transfer $10 to go get a Starbucks chai tea latte. You guys know, I've already had mine today. I love it. Whatever it is, it's aligning your habits or creating habits around areas of your life that you might have a tougher time with. So you can do some habit stacking. You can do some creation of making your habits, these elements in your life, satisfying. There's so many things. The book gives lots of great ideas. Second thing I started to think about is, what if your genetics set you up to be more introverted versus extroverted? And I'll tell y'all, I'm very extroverted, but deep down, I love my introverted moments. There's nothing better than the end of the day just sitting in a tub and nobody talking to me. And is that even possible, having 3 kids? Yes, I make it every night. It's something I do for myself. But I bring this up because a lot of authors leverage their books by spreading the word through speaking engagements. So if you've got an amazing message, you want to share that message, but getting in front of people in that way terrifies you or just doesn't give you joy, or you're not predisposed to get energy from groups like that. Don't worry. This is where knowing that helps you create different habits or different directions, right? So speaking about your book's topic doesn't just mean getting up in front of a crowd of 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people. And I'll be honest, getting in front of 10,000 people terrifies me, even though I am extroverted. So what if instead you reevaluated other opportunities? We live in a virtual world now, which is both good and bad, but there's a lot of positives in it. You can do what I'm doing right now, where I'm talking to my computer, but later others will listen, right? So you can do kind of focusing on speaking to one and then still reach many. You can do podcasting, which you're only talking to the podcast host, or if you're the host, it could be a solo episode. You're just talking, you're still spreading the message, and later people will get it. You can hold virtual workshops. You can collaborate with companies to do virtual lunch and learns. There's so many ways that you can still spread the word without getting up in front of a massive amount of group of people. And just because I'm extroverted doesn't mean I love that, although I do. But just because you might be introverted doesn't mean you don't love that either. It's just understanding these elements about yourself and then creating habits to support you to accomplish your goal. That's all this is. Okay, the third one that I wanted to share is, what if you love to write, but you hate telling people that you love to write or that you've written anything at all? And listen, you won't be alone there. There's a multitude of authors I know that I have met over the years who have phenomenal messages out there, and they want to tell nobody about them. And that's kind of the crux of what book marketing is all about, is we need to tell people about your message, about your book, so that they can purchase it and support you in that journey and learn from it. And one of the ways I help people get around that is by helping people understand, listen, your book is not about you. I mean, you happen to write it, you have a great message, you have something wonderful to share, but it's not really about you, it's about somebody else. So when you go out and tell people about your book, you might feel like you're telling people about you and your message, but you're really telling people about how that message is going to impact their lives. And if you focus on that, then talking about your book is not as terrifying, as it's not talking about, look at me, bring the attention to me. It's talking about how what I'm doing can help you today in your life, right now. And that is the beauty of what a lot of nonfiction books, and quite frankly, fiction books do as well. So I help others get kind of out of that comfort zone a little bit, push them, and yet still find ways to give them energy in the process. In addition, if talking about yourself and talking about what you're writing about or your book or your message still is overwhelming to you, create a habit around it. Maybe you only allow yourself to do that 15 minutes every day when you wake up in the morning. You do a LinkedIn post, you do a Facebook post, you send one email to somebody who might find value in it. Maybe then you take that paper clip, you move it over, and now you've got some money to go buy yourself a latte. Whatever it is, you can create habits around it to help you achieve your goal by still understanding what your genetics do to help support you, right? So I felt like I needed to share this because I don't think that your genetics or what your personality is like limits you. I see that it gives you a direction instead, and it helps you get places in a more quickly, more effective way to do that when you embrace who you are. You're amazing. And when you have that clarity, then we can help make sure that we're positioning habits, marketing strategies, and everything in between to help you achieve your goals. Anything is possible. I 100% absolutely believe it. Just embrace you. I'm going to embrace you. I think it's amazing. I embrace everybody. I think everybody is so uniquely beautiful, and your message is so powerful. So embrace that. And when you do that, you can more quickly, more effectively achieve your goals.